What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Not only is it football Thursday, Vegas Golden Knights have their home opener tonight, so I'm rocking my Knights gear all day. I do have my start, sits, and sleepers for you, as well as my 8-team parlay, so let's get into it. Before we start, I have had a couple people on Instagram who have mentioned, oh, you live in Las Vegas, you're a Golden Knights fan, are you going to cheer for the Raiders when they get there? Let me think.
Hell no, to the no, yeah, to the no.
What kind of question is that? I am a Broncos fan. If you have somebody that you just can't stand and they move in next door to you, are you automatically going to be friends with them and invite them to your 4th of July barbecue? No. You know what you're going to do? You're going to tolerate them. You're going to let them live their lives next door to you, but you're not going to talk to them. You're going to strategically go get your mail when they're not outside, and you're going to pray that your kids don't want to play with their kids. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to tolerate the Raiders. I'm stoked football's coming to Vegas. That means I get to go to a Broncos game once a year, but will I be cheering for the Raiders?
Absolutely fucking not.
Now that we've addressed that, here are my starts at quarterback for week 5. First up, I've got Andy Dalton at home against the Dolphins. Sure, that Bengals offense took a hit with Tyler Eifert being out for the season, but let's not forget, Bengals still have AJ Green and Tyler Boyd. Not to mention, they're going up against a Miami defense who just lost their starting cornerback, Bobby McCain, with an injury. I also have Matt Stafford at home against Green Bay this week. I know I've been talking about how Stafford can't get it done. However, historically, he does play well against the Packers. Not to mention, Packers cornerback Kevin King is also out with an injury, so that has the potential to open up some things for Matt down the field. My last start at quarterback this week is going to be Blake Bortles at Kansas City. Yes, I know the Chiefs are a tough team to play at home, but I do think that Blake will be chasing points with Pat Mahomes and that high-powered offense in Kansas City. Not to mention that Kansas City defense is nowhere near where it needs to be. I've got 3 quarterbacks I think you should sit this week. I'm going to start with Russell Wilson against the Rams. The Rams look unstoppable, and if we're counting on someone to slow them down, I'm not going to bet on the Seahawks. I also think you should sit Joe Flacco at Cleveland. Browns are pumped up. They got Baker Mayfield. They're finally getting things rolling. I actually think Cleveland's going to be a tough place to play this week. And finally, with the Panthers being well rested after coming off that bye week, I think it's a smart decision to sit Eli Manning in this road game at Carolina. I've got one sleeper for you this week, and that is Alex Smith at New Orleans. All right, so those are my start, sits, and sleepers at quarterback. Let's see who you should start, sit, and think about at running backs for week 5. My first start at running back this week is actually somebody I advise sitting in week 4, and that is Matt Breida of the San Francisco 49ers. I didn't like the matchup for Matt Breida against the LA Chargers last week, which was why I advised sitting him in week 4. This week, however, the San Francisco 49ers are taking on the Arizona Cardinals. This Arizona Cardinals defense has given up 8 total touchdowns, not to mention an average of more than 37 PPR points per game this season to running backs. With that being said, really any running back going up against the Arizona Cardinals is a solid start, but especially if you're in a PPR league. My second start at running back is going to be TJ Yeldon at the Kansas City Chiefs. If you thought the Arizona Cardinals defense was bad against the run, welcome to Kansas City. Yes, the Cardinals have given up an average of 37 PPR points per game to running backs this season, but the Kansas City Chiefs have given up almost an average of 40 PPR points to running backs this season. Not only that, but Leonard Fournette is out, so you can definitely expect TJ Yeldon to be getting most of those carries in week 5. And my third start at running back for week 5, we'll just go ahead and keep this trend of shitty run defenses going and head straight to Detroit. The Detroit Lions also have a terrible run defense, which is why my sleeper from last week, Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers, is moving into my starting spot this week. I am expecting him to get into the end zone, even though he might not be getting the majority of the carries. Should be no surprise here that all 3 of my sits at running back this week are going up against good run defenses. My first sit for week 5 is LaShawn McCoy versus the Tennessee Titans. Not only is LaShawn McCoy going up against the Tennessee Titans defense that's only given up an average of 17 PPR points per game this season, but LaShawn McCoy has yet to rush for over 40 yards through week 4. My second sit at running back this week is actually going to be Carlos Hyde going up against the Baltimore Ravens. The first 4 games of the 2018 season, the Baltimore Ravens have only allowed 1 rushing touchdown to the Broncos. So unless he manages to find his way into the end zone, you're counting on a guy who only averages 3.4 yards per carry to get you points. Take my advice this week. If you have Carlos Hyde, leave him on the bench. My last sit at running back is Dalvin Cook going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. We all know that Eagles team has a tough defense, and Dalvin Cook's coming back off of an injury, so he's not likely to be at 100% in week 5. I have 2 sleepers for you this week at running back. First up is Derrick Henry at the Buffalo Bills. My second sleeper is Javorius Allen at Cleveland. Next up on the agenda, wide receivers. First up, Julian Edelman. Welcome back, you little guy. Julian Edelman is coming off of a 4-game suspension. He is going to be eager to make his presence known. Julian Edelman is somebody who plays hard all the time, and especially going up against a banged up Colts secondary, I'm expecting Brady to find Edelman several times tonight. Again, with the absence of tight end Tyler Eifert and the injury to Dolphins cornerback Bobby McCain, I have Tyler Boyd as a solid start at wide receiver for week 5. Yet again, another tight end injury, Evan Ingram, has opened up more receptions and more targets for Sterling Shepard of the New York Giants. I had him as a starter last week. I'm going to go ahead and say keep rolling with Sterling Shepard into week 5. Now for my sits at wide receiver. As much as I've been trying to hold out hope for Demaryius Thomas, he can't catch the ball, and Case Keenum can't hit an open receiver. So he's obviously doing no good in your starting lineup. Go ahead and put Demaryius on the bench this week. My next sit at wide receiver, and I have him personally on my fantasy team, is Tyler Lockett. The Seattle Seahawks haven't been doing much this season, and now they're taking on an undefeated LA Rams team. I'm not expecting them to do much in week 5. My last sit at wide receiver for week 5 is Sammy Watkins, and there is a laundry list of reasons why he should stay on your bench. Number 1, he's coming off of a hamstring injury, so even if he is on the field this week, don't expect him to be at 100%. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs are taking on another tough defense after they played the Denver Broncos in week 4. Jacksonville is going to play the Chiefs tough in Kansas City. And finally, Patrick Mahomes just has too many other weapons on that Chiefs offense. Sammy Watkins is not at the top of the list. He's got Travis Kelce. He's got Kareem Hunt. He's got Tyreek Hill. Sammy Watkins just isn't going to get the volume that would make him a worthwhile start for week 5. And last but not least, my sleepers at wide receiver for this week are going to be Jamison Crowder at the New Orleans Saints and Mohamed Sanu at Pittsburgh. As you guys know, I always like to end my Thursday videos with my 8-team parlay that I pick. This week was a little tougher than last week, but I'll tell you who I've got. I'm taking the Rams -7, the Saints -6.5. I'm picking the Broncos at the Jets. I'm taking the Chiefs -3. I'm taking the Colts +10.5, the Panthers -6. I'm taking the Packers at Detroit and the Bengals -6. All right, that's it for week 5 of Fantasera Football. Please tune in on Tuesday for my week 5 recap. Good luck in all your fantasy leagues. Go Knights, go! Clona says, subscribe to my mom's YouTube channel.